Larder. Oh, there's bound to be a lot of food here. Let's do it. Oh, does this mean I have to fight a stupid pig goo guy again? Oh my god, he was so difficult. Oh man, this is bad. Hopefully there are checkpoints. If this game was actually really lenient, there would be checkpoints. Like here would be a checkpoint because I just finished beating a boss. But so far this game has proved itself to be not very lenient, aside from actually allowing you to respawn. That's the only lenient thing. If this were a true roguelike, and you had to restart from the very beginning every single time you died, I would give it a rating like Rain World. It's just too brutally difficult without you know, any reason for it. It's kind of the reason why games are more easy now and why some people are like, yeah, you should just get good at the game. Because games used to be more difficult, for sure. Although there has been a resurgence in recent years of difficult games, thanks to games like Bashi and Meat Boy. And Dark Souls. Dark Souls is like the most mainstream popular one. Bashi is the obscure one, but a lot of people do know Bashi. Even the people that aren't like super hardcore. And Super Meat Boy, I think, is pretty well known now as well. It's a frustrating game. 100%. Like, I won't ever argue otherwise, but it's designed that way for a reason. And it's... I don't want to say it's like poorly designed, but it's like questionably designed. Because it's like, you know, trial and error, a lot of trial and error, which is what Rain World is like as well. A lot of trial and error, but the RNG factors of that game are just so stupid. Because you could actually just die randomly for no reason, because enemies don't have a set spawn. Enemies are randomly generated and randomly spawn. So you can have an enemy spawn above you, and then even though you hear the warning, there's like a sound cue for when the enemy's gonna attack. You don't know if the enemy's gonna attack you or someone else in the area. And then, like, sometimes you don't even see the enemy, and the enemy just jumps on you instantly and kills you. It's like super frustrating to die like that, and then you lose like a bunch of progress. Because when you die in Rain World, you don't just die and respawn. You die and lose your progress, your story progress. So you have to redo that story progress part. Yeah, it's really dumb. That's the gimmick of the game. You need to hibernate to progress. If you don't hibernate, you can't open doors. And if you don't open doors, you can't progress. And certain doors can only be opened on certain cycles. They have to be very specific cycles. So yeah, that's the dumb thing about the game. But then again, I'll say again, I do respect the dev for being gutsy enough for actually making the game. Because I'm pretty sure the dev isn't stupid and probably realized that people will be like, what the hell is this garbage? But if you're fine with making garbage, then, you know, like, I completely respect that. If the dev doesn't know that the game is garbage, then that's another matter altogether. Okay, let's grab the helmet and just move on. Because there's so many stages, right? And I have a lot of money. And I have full HP. Technically, full HP isn't efficient, but I'm still gonna move on anyway because I want to save time. I want to leave with like 20 less HP because I get 2 apples at the beginning of every round. Ultimately, in the end, games are meant to be fun, right? If you have fun with the game, it's fine, but when an overwhelming majority thinks that a game is not fun... I don't even want to say an overwhelming majority. I mean, this is going to get into the topic of reviews and stuff, and the integrity of the review. It's such a big can of worms to open. A lot of the topics I talk about are such big cans of worms, and it's impossible to fully go over the topics just doing like and a side talk. Which is what I do in these playthroughs. I just talk about random stuff just to move the game along. And then sometimes I talk about the game. Ha! Imagine that. Only sometimes I talk about the game, just by playing it. Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna bash on Rain World a lot in the next while. I'm gonna compare a lot of games to Rain World. And yeah, it's gonna be bad. Because it, like, utterly fails in so many respects. Obviously, I'm not doing it because, like, I want them to... Oh my god, it took so much damage there. These guys are really insane. Because when they explode, they leave bullets behind. That's actually really cool. I mean, it's annoying, but I like the fact that there are enemies that do that. Ah! Oh my god, I actually dodged it. What the hell? Like, actually dodged something? Oh, that's impressive. Oh, there we go. Okay. Stood still and took a damage. Took hit. Okay. I can't talk when I'm concentrating in rooms like these. These are actually difficult rooms. The bullet hell rooms. And like annoying screeching laser noises. You know, you could actually annoy your player by doing that, just adding stupid sound effects. Don't do it though. For devs or future devs, don't do it. It's frustrating. You don't want to ever frustrate your player. That's the thing. Like, you can make a difficult game without the game being frustrating. As in, like, the mechanics are frustrating. It can be frustrating personally. So, for instance, Dark Souls can be frustrating personally. Like, some people may not like the controls, they may not like the difficulty, but from a mechanical standpoint, it's not faulty. Like, seriously. And you can take my opinion with a grain of salt, but I'm like a 20+ year veteran of games in general, and I've played all kinds of games. From casual games to hardcore games to multiplayer games, an extensive amount. So I've been around. Although I don't think I've ever seen someone like this in a game. Someone who eats books. Tell me if I'm wrong about that. Maybe there are games out there with weird orc creatures that eat books. I've seen big demon guys though. That's a pretty normal trope. But book-eating orcs? That's a new one. Oh crap. Okay. Ah, damn it, I messed that up. I was gonna boost through, but I missed my angle, I guess. Oh crap, I saw it too late. Ah. See, that's the thing with this game. You can, like, visually see everything, and there's counterplay to it, if you can react in time. So it's a mechanically demanding game. It's reaction-based. You need to actually react to stuff. This will heal me to full, I think, so I don't want to actually... I don't want to buy that yet. I'm going to move on. I want to explore this room first, and then I'll take the potion, take the tonic, if I do need it. Yeah, like... as long as you make it clear that something's about to attack you, then it's considered good game design. It's that simple. Like, it's really not that difficult of a concept. For example, if you're going to swing a baseball bat, you don't just instantly swing it, right? There's a wind-up. So that wind-up is the counterplay, a visual counterplay, and maybe add an audio cue as well. Like that's good game design. That's what you gotta do. But there are lots of games out there that, oh, damn it, that don't do that. Like this guy, look at this guy. The moment he's about to charge, he winds up. And then the moment he hits his head, he loses invincibility frames, and then becomes vulnerable for 2 seconds or so. And that's your period to counterattack. Game design is really all about that. Making it clear for the player. Clear what they're doing and what the enemies are doing. Like, for this room, if you're good with spatial perception, you could actually understand when to move really well. Unfortunately, my spatial perception is questionable when it comes to this kind of stuff. Although I do have really good eyesight. That's one of the things I was fortunate enough to have. Am fortunate enough to have. Despite playing like thousands and thousands of hours of games, my eyesight is still nearly perfect. A lot of people are probably jealous of that. That's probably my only real skill. The other one maybe is my perseverance and stubbornness, if you could even call that a skill. Like, if everyone had RPG stats in real life, those would be mine. Good eyesight, and like stubborn and determined. I would be really good in Undertale, as an Undertale character. All that determination and all. Oh, it's the final room! Okay, I'm gonna go back. I'm a masochist when it comes to like, grinding out games. I will grind like crazy, but I don't like grind. I don't like games that force you to grind. I like games that have optional grind, or like good flow, game flow. So I think in the past I was okay with JRPGs, but a lot of JRPGs force you to grind too much. And honestly, it's not good game design. Once you've seen games that actually have flow, with quests that actually flow well, story that flows well, you don't actually have to grind, but it's still a challenge. Like, you still need to fight the bosses a certain way. You need to utilize certain buffs, debuffs, and all that stuff. Enemy weaknesses, stuff like that. Pokemon's a pretty good example, actually, of games that you don't have to grind. Because you really don't have to grind. In recent entries, especially. In earlier entries, it was a lot more Damn it! It was a lot more questionable. There was like... There's the infamous Miltank, Whitney's Miltank. There's Brock, technically. Brock and Misty, technically. If you started with Charmander, it's technically a grind. But in recent entries, like, very rarely do they do that. The last time they did it was, I think, Gen 3. Well, actually, Gen 4 they did it too. That's a nice heal. But a lot of the first gyms have been normal gyms recently, or like manageable gyms with not like, you know, completely overwhelming odds, like Charmander versus Geodude. I think a lot of the younger audience probably don't get what I'm saying, because in the remakes, Charmander learns Metal Claw, so Metal Claw deals with rock types, obviously. But in the original, all you had was Ember. So you technically had to grind to at least like level 14, or maybe even evolve to Charmeleon. Yeah, that was really bad. But the thing is, games got easier as time went on, for the better. And like an easy game doesn't necessarily mean a bad game, and it doesn't mean like games in general are getting worse, or like players are getting worse. It's just that developers are understanding that you're not supposed to like overwhelm the player and make them like not want to play or make them want to quit. Generally speaking, some games do it deliberately, but some games do it deliberately skillfully, like Dark Souls, and some games do it unskillfully, like Rain World. Yeah, Rain World's a game that I'm going to be bashing for a while. It's like Fire Emblem Fates for story. Whenever there's a story that's terrible, I always say still a better story than Fire Emblem Fates. Because that story was terrible, like seriously terrible. And there are people who like the story. It's questionable why they like it. Oh yeah, speaking of Fire Emblem, Echoes is coming out soon. I'm hoping to finish this playthrough before Echoes comes out. It's like a little more than a week. But yeah, Echoes is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting because recent Fire Emblems have always been about like the pairings and the shippings and whatever. But Echoes goes back to like raw gameplay. fireballs more so than... Wow, that's a lot of fireballs. Calm down. Raw gameplay more than anything else. And hopefully, you know, like a better story. The GBA and older games, I think... Wow, that was crazy lag. People say that Fire Emblem 4 was like one of the best stories, but I never played it because it was Japanese only. People said 6 sucked. Gameplay and story. 7 was good, gameplay and story. I agree. 8 was good. I didn't like 8 as much as 7. And I didn't like 8 as much as most of the other Fire Emblems. Like, obviously it's better than garbage like Shadow Dragon. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't that big of a fan of it. It was alright, it was pretty good. Like, it's still good, it's just not great in comparison. Relativity is something that people seem to always forget about. Just things are relatively good. Good is a relative term. Good and bad are relative terms. If you don't know what good is, you don't know what bad is. If you don't know what bad is, you don't know what good is. There's a philosophical aspect to it. Oh, god damn it, stupid bird. Not even just philosophical, it's like a... It's the definition of the word itself. You can't have good without bad. You can't have bad without good. It's two sides of the same coin. People seem to forget that, or they just don't know it, period. Fire Emblem Fates had the potential to be one of the best Fire Emblem stories ever. Because of the way it was pitched, nature versus nurture. That was basically the pitch of the story. But they didn't actually go through with it well enough. The execution was bad. Just like Awakening. Awakening's story was acceptable, but the execution was pretty bad. The game dragged on for too long, and then you kind of lost sight of the story. Oh, that was pretty cool. That was a beautiful dance, you ugly starfish. Unibrow starfish. I guess they wouldn't have anything but unibrows, because they only have one eye. So it doesn't actually... It's not actually that weird. Oh, it's this room again. I hate this room. Yeah, I'm just gonna bypass it. Oh, there we go. I made it in time. Almost didn't make it. I was a couple seconds off. Or I was almost a couple seconds off, like 1 or 2 seconds off. People really need to start understanding relativity. It's the same thing with like tier lists. Tier lists are all about relativity. Something is better than another, generally speaking. Doesn't necessarily mean that the lower tier thing is like insanely terrible. It just means that it's relatively terrible. It all comes down to relativity and perception. Yeah, this goes over a lot of people's heads. The world would be a better place if people actually understood that. Are you serious? You're putting Vel'Koz up there? Vel'Koz up there with permanent blue or permanent red bubble. Nasty, nasty place to put it. You know, when I mention stuff like Vel'Koz, I don't think most people get it. It's because, yeah, you'd have to play League to understand what that means. Vel'Koz is a tentacle monster that fires lasers. Yeah, you can just look it up. Vel'Koz. V-E-L-K-O-Z. I'm sure you'll find a lot of stuff on Vel'Koz. Wow, this room is really brutal. I might actually die in here. Please don't die in here. Please don't die in here. Oh, crap. I'm gonna focus for a second. It's because of this stupid purple thing chasing me around. One more hit, one more hit! Yes! No! 15 HP. Yeah, Vel'Koz is a tentacle monster who fires a laser, giant laser beam. Okay, I need HP badly now. Last round, I actually was okay with my HP. Now it's definitely not the case. I have a ton of money though, so if I do run into shops, I can just spend the money.